So I'm a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. My husband works full-time and gets an okay salary, but he's tightened the grip on spending for the past 4 months to save up to watch the football event overseas. He's literally obsessed with anything to do with football. He said he rarely ever gets to do what he wants, and so I don't want to judge him since it's his money eventually. We discussed plans for Christmas and he told me to handle everything since he won't be back till December the 20th. He told me he had money put aside for Christmas decorations, food, gifts, kids' needs, etc. The money in total was $100. I was completely shocked. I told him $100 for an entire family's Christmas celebration was ridiculously not enough. He shrugged, saying it's all he has, but pointed out how he's paying for his friends' and his girlfriend's travel expenses. He told me to just take it, but I said that if he decided to leave me with just $100, I wouldn't be doing anything for Christmas. We had lots of arguments and couldn't get this resolved. He's in Qatar now. He left days ago. Yesterday, while I was cleaning, I found an envelope with the same $100 and a note from him telling me to make it work. So I sent him a message that I decided that I won't be doing anything for Christmas with this little money, period. He was livid. He just kept sending an angry message after another, calling me spoiled, and telling me to stop expecting to live like I was still living in my parents' house and to stop trying to rob the kids of enjoying the holidays like the other kids. I'm planning on going to stay with my parents. They live a few towns away, but I don't intend to return for Christmas. They miss their grandkids too. I haven't replied to my husband, but he's livid, saying I'm punishing him for going and trying to guilt him using his own money. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This sounds like financial abuse. Why is it his money when you're in charge of household admin and childcare while he waltzes off with his friends to pay thousands to watch a bunch of overplayed idiots kick a ball around a stadium built on eco-destruction and human rights violations? No sane person from this century could pull off Christmas with $100 unless they go in for petty theft on a grand scale. Ultimatum time. He treats you as an equal financially, or you leave and get child support. Not just that, he would rather pay for his buddy and his girlfriend to travel than provide his kids with a decent holiday. He's putting his friends before his family, which is not okay. Some people do cheap Christmas, paper chains, reuse decorations, limited food, and focus on family time together. But I'm betting my husband would throw a fit if that was the outcome. Take your kids, go to your parents, have a beautiful Christmas without your husband, and get a divorce. Why do you have no say in finances? You are financially abused. Your relationship sounds utterly shocking, to be honest. He seems to have complete control, and you are seen as worthless. My heart breaks that you seem to be treated as of no value. Yeah, tell him to stick Christmas up his rear. Exactly. OP, stop going along with his idiot his money BS. If he wanted to think of his income as his money, he shouldn't have got married and had kids. It's the family's money now. You have rights as a wife. If he doesn't understand, a divorce lawyer may be able to explain it to him. Merry Christmas. I used the $100 to file for divorce. Thanks. I, 18 female, live with my dad, his wife Hannah, Hannah's daughter Grace, 20 female, and our younger brother, pre-tween. Grace only comes to stay on the weekends since she's in college, and this time she brought her boyfriend Isaac, 21, with her. I'm mixed, my dad is white and my mom is black. Honestly, I don't look anything like my dad, so most people don't even think I'm mixed. We like to joke that I got his personality instead of his looks. People tend to say offhanded stuff to me about how I don't look how they think I'm supposed to. I'm used to it, especially since my dad ended up married to a white woman, so every time I'm with them it looks like I'm the odd one out. I'm not afraid to correct people, but sometimes that gets exhausting and I'll just play dumb instead. Grace and I planned to get lunch together, and her boyfriend Isaac came along with us. She wants us to get to know each other better since she likes him, so I figured that's why she brought him. While we were having lunch, my mom's side of the family was brought up, and then Isaac said that must have been a shock to my dad, at least for me to end up so dark since most mixed kids are lighter in complexion than I am. But then he said that at least I ended up with good hair, so I didn't lose out completely. Grace didn't speak up and say anything to him about it, so I pretended not to understand what he meant, and asked what was so good about my hair and what he thought I was losing out on anyway. He got flustered and said, "Well, you know, most girls with your skin tone have curlier hair." So then I asked why he thought my hair was good just because it wasn't that curly. He said he felt it just looked nicer. So I asked why he thought that textured hair didn't look just as nice. He kept blubbering out excuses and digging the hole even deeper for himself, and finally Grace told me to cut it out and leave him alone. I paid for my part of lunch and left after that. I didn't tell my dad or Hannah what happened, but it's obvious enough that Grace is mad at me. My dad asked that she and I solve whatever the problem is because she hates seeing us be so tense around each other. Grace told me she was angry because I made her boyfriend look like a jerk by playing dumb. I told her that I didn't have to make him look like a jerk because he already was one, but she said that I drew the problem out more than necessary and made it worse than it needed to be when I could have just told him that he messed up. I mean, I could have done that, but I don't think it should be my job, and I feel like it was probably more effective to get him to explain his logic out loud rather than have me tell him he was being a jerk. Grace is insisting that I should have just told him point blank, and because I didn't, she thinks I'm the idiot. Edit: my dad just texted me to ask if something happened at lunch with Grace's boyfriend, so when he and my stepmom get home later, I'll tell him what happened since it seems like he already knows something did. Also, my reluctance about telling my dad and Hannah isn't because I want to protect Isaac or anything. It's because Grace is my stepsister, and I care about her. I know she really likes this guy, and I only feel bad because even though I didn't ruin anything for her, it feels like I did. The situation just sucks, I guess. Not the idiot. You did him a big favor by humiliating him and forcing him to reflect on his racism. If you called him a jerk, he could have just got mad at you and moved on. Instead, you dragged it out and he will keep feeling it. Maybe it won't change him, but there's a chance it will. You don't owe him anything, but you went above and beyond in giving him an opportunity for personal growth. Whether or not this was your intent, you were exceedingly generous. Hopefully he'll learn from it. Grace is angry because she either has to admit she's willing to accept that her boyfriend has these beliefs, unfortunately common for people to think this way. She and her boyfriend may both need to work on their own beliefs or maybe end things. Possibly not, unless this was the tip of the iceberg comment. And Grace is the bigger idiot for not calling it out herself. OP should call Grace out for being an enabler. Update. I told my dad and Hannah what happened when they got home, and they both told me that I did absolutely nothing wrong. Hannah said she would talk to Grace about it, and my dad said that Isaac was no longer welcome anywhere near our house. Dad also gave me a mini motivational speech where he reiterated that I look perfect just the way I am and that colorists, texturists, bigots have no place in our family or our home. Grace drove back to campus a while ago, so Hannah will call her later to talk with her about what happened. My wife and I have been married for a decade. She's a stay-at-home wife and we have no children. She has a daughter from a previous relationship, Sarah, and we've gotten along for the most part. Sarah is a junior in college pursuing a biology degree with additional courses required by medical schools. She's dreamed of being a doctor and helping people since her mom and I met. The problem is, she could be a better student. She's failed her Biology 1 class and had to retake it to get a B. She really struggled in her next level biology class and finished with a C. She also got a C in her chemistry class. She got a B in Calculus 1 and 2. She's making A's in her non-science and non-math classes, so they're padding her GPA, which is a 3.2. This semester I just learned she would make B's and C's in her science and math classes. I'm not a doctor and don't know any doctors, but I did online research. I discovered that medical schools require many things, but at the top of the list is a high GPA and top grades in science and math classes. Unfortunately, with Sarah's grades, she's not getting into any medical school. I even looked into nursing school to see if I could talk her into going that route, and all the ones I looked at require higher grades than she has. I talked with my wife about it and she said the medical school looks at other things besides grades, and that's where Sarah excels. She has a solid volunteer resume and she cares about people. I argued none of that mattered if her grades weren't good enough. She argues that Sarah will do great in the interviews. As I said, I have no experience with medical school, so I can't argue with her logic. Instead, I talked with Sarah when she came home for Thanksgiving and told her to look into another major because she might not be cut out to be a doctor. She ran to her mom and we all got into a huge argument. I lost my temper and yelled I'm not wasting any more money on something she'll fail in. I told them both I'm not paying for next semester's classes unless she changes her major to something more realistic. I feel bad, I do, but I'm not rich, and I don't have money to waste if she doesn't have a chance to get into medical school. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Medical schools are very competitive and everyone has a minimum GPA requirement. If her GPA is below that, they'll automatically reject her without the chance of an interview. Sometimes being a good parent is putting a stop to the madness and saying no, even though it's hard. I would go and speak with some professors and guidance counselors about this and see what they say. Then have a go with you before any decision is made about her future. Is she aware of the work that goes into being a doctor? What it would be like? Can she go do some work at a hospital and see how hard it is, see if nursing is best for her? You are the idiot. It's your money, but to tell your stepdaughter out of nowhere that you cut the money isn't nice. Give her 1 semester to achieve better grades and prove herself. Then she would know what she had to do and what was on the line. I'm a successful engineer. Do you know what I had to retake? Calculus 1 and 3. Do you know what I never used since school? Any of my college classes. While a different career path, classes don't correlate to real-world experiences. Next time you go to your doctor's office, please ask your doctor about the last time they used Calculus 1 or 2 in treating a patient. You are the idiot. It's not wasteful because she doesn't have a 4.0. I got a new car earlier this year and it's the first big item I bought for myself. It's my baby and I take good care of it. This weekend I had to drive to Town B for work. To get to Town B I had to drive through Town A where my girlfriend's mother is. So my girlfriend asked if I could give her, my girlfriend, and her son a ride there to visit her mother. We left yesterday and I reminded her and her son of my #1 rule: no food in the car. She said whatever, agreed, and we went off. On the way, her son complains about being hungry, so we stop at a gas station, and the two of them go off to grab and eat something quickly. After about 20 minutes, they come back to the car and both have slushies. I stopped them and told them they couldn't drink that in my car, and she said they couldn't possibly finish it fast enough without making us late and that she wasn't even willing to do that. This resulted in a back and forth of arguing, and the ultimatum was to leave them there or suck it up. Finally, I gave in and let them in, cautioning them to be careful. After about 30 minutes, her son drifted off and dropped the melted slushie all over the back seat. I yelled a curse word and pulled over to clean it up. After cleaning it up, I returned to the driver's seat and just drove. I was livid but knew fighting or arguing over this wouldn't solve anything. Still, I was in no mood to talk, so I remained silent for the rest of the ride, only giving short answers when spoken to. I dropped them off at her mother's and kept driving. When I reached my lodging, I saw a message from my girlfriend calling me an idiot for giving them the silent treatment and making her son feel like crap over an honest mistake. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You made it very clear how important the car being clean is to you. They ignored your boundaries and exactly what you were afraid of happening happened. And hunger is no excuse. A hungry kid doesn't need a slushie. They could have grabbed a banana and a string cheese and a bottle of water, all of which can be consumed quickly and aren't messy. She had to know the slushie was a bad idea, she just didn't care. I can only imagine the vivid colours in a slushie. Poor OP, I would be silent too. Honest mistake? No, she bought slushies. They cannot be consumed quickly, so she knew they would end up in your car. This is a perfect example of the difference between accident and unintended results of taking an unnecessary risk. And on top of that, there's no lid, and it's a sticky mess when it's spilled and dries. Even if your car wasn't new and you hadn't established rules for it, folks should know better than holding a slushie in their hand when they might fall asleep and spill it everywhere. In your case, you had straight up warned them and they ignored you. She should have to pay you to have it cleaned. She's a mom. She knew the chances of having the slushie wind up dumped in OP's car were pretty high. Most people who care would not have wanted to change it. OP, she made the active choice to disregard your boundaries. Get out now. This situation only gets worse. I, 29 male, found out that I have a tween daughter. It's a long story of how I found out, but just to be clear, yes, I'm sure she's mine. I've been trying to get to know her and she stays with me a lot. I've decided this is the right time to introduce her to my family. I have a big family with so many siblings and nibblings. They know about my daughter and some of them have met her, but some of my siblings that I'm not very close to or who live in another city haven't met her yet. My siblings and I stay the entire holiday in our parents' home, and this year I'm taking my daughter with me. Every Christmas, my siblings make a list of gifts. This list is for all the kids in the family, and it's designed so that every kid will have the same gifts, and no one will get upset that someone else is getting a better gift. It's also designed so that all my siblings, even the ones who don't have good jobs, can afford it. My sister sent me this year's list and told me this is what I should get for my child this year. I looked at the list and it was mostly clothes and like one toy of our choice. I told her I was sorry, but this was my daughter's first Christmas with me and I was not going to get such crappy gifts for her. I have my own list. She argued that every kid in the family was getting these gifts and getting anything but these would make other kids upset, and I told her I didn't care. The other issue is that my siblings usually go there by train. I used to go with them, but it's a very long way and tiring, so I told her this year I'd get plane tickets for me and kiddo, which made her madder, and she called me an idiot. She's told all my siblings, and most of them are calling me an idiot for not thinking about how their children will feel if I do this. Only 2 of my siblings are on my side, and the rest think I'm an idiot. Not the idiot. I'm sorry, but this family tradition sounds pretty manipulative. I understand that all kids want to feel equal, but nobody should be dictating what gifts a parent wants to give to their child. This is not real equality, it's controlling. Agreed. It's a shame because they're trying to be fair but going about it wrong. First, all parents should be in the discussion of deciding which gifts to buy because they know what their kids will enjoy. Some siblings made a list based on what their children wanted or needed. Second, instead of a list, they could have figured out a price range to stick within. If some parents want to get additional presents, bring the main one to open on Christmas Day and anything else as a surprise when they get home. You are the idiot if you stay the course. By giving her preferential treatment, you aren't doing your daughter any favors with your extended family, and especially her new cousins. They're going to resent her if she suddenly becomes the long-lost golden child who gets her own special and better gifts. Don't put her in this position. It isn't fair.